to order. Roll call.
Shealy.
Hamilton.
Henninger. Schlossberg.
Okay, so we have a quorum. Approval of minutes. Did you look at the 4-2 minutes? That was the
That's for the shed.
Clinton shed.
Correct.
Do you see anything incorrect? Have a motion to accept it?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I have a motion.
Second.
Second from Schlossberg. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed the same. Motion's carried. Okay, tell us about your pool.
It is a fiberglass pool, and it is 13 wide by 30 feet long. And of course, it all gets filled in once it's dug, and then there has to be 3 feet of concrete around the entire pool to keep it from moving.
Okay, and have a fence around it?
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have just like a tier fence for when they're doing work, and I'm in the process of trying to decide if I want to do a link fence around the whole property or wood.
Okay.
It's a state regulator, that's a fences around pools. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever the code will require.
Minimum of 4 feet high, and have a restricted access, so it can't just be a gate that somebody comes and turns a knob, a regular knob.
Yes, got it inside.
You have to reach over.
Yeah.
You can have one on the same side as you approach it, but it has to be a little more complicated than a neighborhood kid's going to figure out immediately. Just something to delay access.
Yeah. And I have it on too. That's me.
Okay, Tom, you want to explain why we're looking at a variance here?
Sure.
Best if you explain it.
The desired location is within the stream overlay district, which requires a setback of 50 feet from the top edge of the stream bank. And this is to help ensure that any kind of construction activity will not introduce silt into the waterways of the village. Is that Trumansburg Creek there, or Teganic Creek?
It says Trumansburg.
Yeah.
Okay. So the variance is being requested to put it there, so the considerations are what you folks think the hazard will be for introducing silt into the creek. It's a pretty flat side. Do you have any idea what kind of pitches down to the stream? When I walked
Actually, it's where I would like to put it, the ground actually goes this way. It comes towards the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And,
So how far, what's the elevation difference between the top of the bank and, let's say, the edge of the stream? How many feet? Yeah, how many feet from the top of the bank down to
it.
the stream?
I
so
don't know,
18 inches, it's not a big jump.
Okay.
Well,
So it's not
even from where my lawn goes in the gardens,
Where it
and
stops.
then it goes down.
Stop, yeah.
It's a pretty good drop down.
Mm-hmm.
Steve?
Would you say it's 5 feet, 10 feet, 2 feet?
Mm,
If you're standing in the water and looked up, could you see the level part of your,
Just about, yeah.
just about, okay, so 4.5, 5 feet.
And that's within this, as I see the drawing here, that's within this top of the bank line to the edge of the stream.
Do you want,
This is what I'm looking at, is what's the, because that looks like that's what, 20 feet or so from the top of the bank to the stream?
correct.
So in that 20 feet, how much is that dropping? From here, the 20 feet at the top of the bank down to the stream, what's that drop? 4 or 5 feet?
Maybe even more. It depends, I mean, the whole,
I mean, it's not gonna be the same in any certain place,
but definitely when I'm down on the flat part here,
yeah.
that, it's like
Okay.
here.
And so the lawn that's here, in which the pool will be set, is this pretty level going out toward the road?
Yes,
This is all pretty level.
yeah, it's very flat there, except for right here in between the pool is and this, that where it slopes up.
Okay. The shed is pre-existing?
Yeah,
Okay. And you're going to put your pump and such in the shed?
yes,
And so you already have electric and all that?
No, I have
That will all be
someone
put in.
to do that, yes.
And chemicals and stuff are gonna be stored for the pool where?
It's
In the
just,
shed?
yeah, it's just chlorine tablets in it with a automatic chlorinator
Okay.
that I actually run 24/7 during the season. I'm just very low. I just find it helpful, having to clean, getting
Now,
back in helps.
Who's doing the construction of the pool?
Royal Pools,
Royal.
Series, yeah.
They've installed a few pools in the village since I've been here.
Yeah, they
Seem
the
to
one across the street from.
listen to me, so that's.
How lengthy of a process is it to, have they told you to dig the pool?
They basically dig it and then they have to fill it back in and get rid of stuff, and then they have to wait for it to settle a little bit before they put the concrete, the 3 feet around the entire surrounding pool, the pool's in place. And I don't know, Laura, was that her name? Who
Oh,
was
the previous owner.
Yeah, you know, I kind of asked her, like, how, because she kept saying, we don't want to disrupt the flow of the creek and toxins and,
So you've been involved in some pools that have been installed in the village?
Yeah.
In ground?
Yep.
And through Royal?
Mhm.
And what's been the construction timeline approximately? Is it a couple of weeks?
Usually like 6-8 weeks. I think it varies about the settling, because when you get ready to pour that apron, you don't want to pour it immediately and then have the ground sink under it, because
Okay.
you'd have to be taking out.
So they're digging out a hole and they're also excavating for the concrete.
Well, the hole's going to be bigger
it'll be 3 feet.
than the pool itself.
Right, and then they backfill?
Yes.
If you can't put the pool here, which I just drove over your house, I think I know which one it is. You have another spot on the property you can put it. You can't get it because outside of this 50-foot buffer. You have another place to put it on the property?
It is, but it's like right in the road, near the road, and I just wanted it kind of set back, so it was private. And they will only allow 20 feet from where the pump and electric has to be.
So to put it in another place, you're gonna have to put in you're gonna have to either move your shed or put another shed in or something to put the pump and run electrical to a different location.
Yes.
About how far back is your house from the street?
From the front, I'd say maybe like 40 feet.
If the pool is located to the side yard, they would also need a variance because accessory structures can only occupy a rear yard.
Oh, isn't this sort of the side yard already?
That's the back of the house.
Well,
I got that, but you're actually,
it's behind the garage at
behind
least.
the garage, yeah, but it's in the front,
Yeah,
the leading edge of the pool toward the road
yeah.
is further towards the road than the back edge of the house. So I consider it a side yard, and we need to give an extra variance for that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Let me look through this quickly, although, yeah.
Because to me, that's considered a side yard. Versus the back yard. And
I'm just going into the definitions, my favorite part.
I don't think we can find it that clearly.
Yeah, I
Through a lot of
just
them.
look for side.
Multiple times.
is there actually a section of swimming pools in there?
No,
No,
just
I was
talking
gonna
about
say accessory.
side yards, there's nothing in the definitions that deals with definition of what is a side yard and backyard.
There's a section on swimming pools. 722.
You know what it is?
722.
Yeah, 722, section 722.
Well, in definitions, number 77, yard, side yard is an open unoccupied space between the principal buildings and a sidewalk line and extending through from the front yard to the rear yard. Well, that's, I think I'll read that again. An open unoccupied space, so that's between the principal buildings and a sidewalk line. 177, in definitions, page 62.
Front yard. Those are terribly written definitions. It's basically saying you draw a line straight across the front of the house, straight across the back of the house. That gives you your backyard and front yard, and everything between those lines on each side is the side yard.
So in theory, it's inside.
It's, yeah, in theory, so we
should give it a cover,
That is
that's where to approve this.
Yeah.
let's do this, let's open for public comment, if we don't mind, and then we can get back into the discussion.
Any comments? No comments.
Can I have,
Make a motion to close public comment.
can I have a motion to open public hearing?
Make a motion to open public.
Okay, can I have a second? Second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Can I have a motion to close public hearing?
Make a motion to close
Okay,
public hearing.
can I have a second?
I'll wait for a second.
All in favor say aye. Aye, opposed the same? Okay, so the issue as I see it is, is there another location it could be put that would be that would not be in violation of, there's not gonna be any position to put this pool that won't be in violation of something.
Correct.
Because if you move it any more toward the open yard, you're totally in the side yard. Okay, so you're gonna deal with that. You can't put it anywhere farther back because you're gonna be even more encroaching onto the setbacks with the stream overlay.
How far is it from the house now? Like, I can't really tell from the diagram.
It says
6 feet,
from the garage.
6 feet from the garage.
Okay, 6
And
feet.
I don't think
No, what? That's to the edge of the pool, 6 feet from.
edge of the concrete.
Or is that the concrete apron around it?
That's with the concrete,
Let's do the concrete.
and then the.
So it's drawn
end
here.
of it Going towards this way is like 7.5 or 8 feet.
So basically, you have from the edge of the house to the drop off of the pool is 8 feet.
No, from towards the creek, you mean?
No, I'm just saying from the house
To the concrete.
to the
Edge of the
not the
concrete.
apron, but to the actual edge of the pool where it drops in. How far from the house to where it drops into the pool is that?
Before the concrete is like,
Well, usually if it's apron around it, then going towards the center, that's where the hole is, the pool. I
right,
was wondering how far the edge of the hole, edge of the pool,
right.
and to the house itself.
Okay, it's like 3 feet, but the house is there, and then there's a garden. So it's not the house, the
Not, I'm
garage.
saying, no.
Okay, let's do it. Come up here.
Yeah,
Come up here. So here's the house, and we're gonna assume this is the apron right here. What's this distance between the edge of the apron to the house?
with the apron, this is 7.5.
That's 7, and then you have the 3-foot apron, and then you have the pool. So we're
No,
saying,
that's counting the
Apron.
the apron there and the apron here.
okay,
So this is 7,
and this is
And-
6.
yes, to
Okay.
the edge of
So
the
you're
garage.
really close to the house, in a sense. Because you have a 3-foot concrete apron,
Right,
and you're gonna have a fence around the outside edge of that apron.
Well, you can
Right.
stop the fence at the garage and the house.
Oh, if you attach it to the house,
Yeah.
okay.
now, can I, fence in, like, the whole property,
Certain, well,
except for here, which there would be fencing
mhm,
there,
yep.
and then from there to there, so this side didn't need it.
You could, let me back up. The objective is to not have unrestricted access. So if you, like went here, but then had the driveway open, that would be considered access.
Right.
So you could go from this edge of the house to here, right across, and then some way to get back to the house, or to the edge of the pool, something like that.
Yeah, I kind of figured that John out a tiny bit from the driveway
Yeah,
and come here,
Okay.
and then the fence would be on the inside of the hedges. Neighbors already have a
the
fence
neighbors have
there,
a fence.
so then I would come here and come to the back of.
So you're looking to fence in the whole property much more
Yeah.
so than just around the pool?
Yeah,
Okay. Because my concern was, as we look at location is, how far are you away from the house? Can you go closer to the house? Should you be farther away from the house? That's a consideration, because if you find, oh, I don't like where this is put, but we've only given you a variance to go so close,
okay,
you'd be coming back to us and
right,
saying, oh, I don't want the pool that close to the house, and I need to encroach farther onto
Yeah, because
this.
that's what I'm worried about, which you said is only 3 feet from the house.
So the folks
So you
who,
can even drive, you can barely even walk. without-
Especially if you're putting a fence right around, I was thinking a fence right around the concrete, because you're fencing in the pool, and now you really have
No, I'm
restricted.
just wondering, like, being able to walk between the house and the edge of the pool. without
It's similar to
falling
the
into
issue of accessory buildings being 5 feet away from the property line, so you can maintain it around the edges of it.
Right.
Okay.
so have you talked to the Cannon folks that they're confident they can do the excavation here that close to the foundation of the house?
he wouldn't come out until I got it approved.
Okay,
Because originally he thought it should go the opposite way, which then puts it way closer
yeah,
to
yeah.
the creek. And it stands now, the creek side of the pool is, I think 27 or 27 and a half.
Yeah, you put 27 back.
Yeah,
So that's going to be one thing if they come out and say, oh, we can't have it this close to the house.
right.
I'm not
Should they
sure.
just have to move it further west, probably away from the house?
Mhm.
Yeah, more so than maybe away from the garage. I'm assuming the garage is a board floor.
Yeah,
Yeah. So is the house have a full basement under it, or
No.
crawl space?
it's not even crawlable, it's like, it's 15.
So it's almost like on like an elevated slab?
No, it's all gravel, thick, I mean, sure under it too, but
Okay.
it's filled with stone.
Okay.
So there's probably less likely that you're going to undermine a foundation if there isn't much of a foundation.
Right. Okay.
I'm sure there's, a little frost line, you have to have something where we have a little frost line. Otherwise it has to be broken.
There's allowances for the turn down slabs that don't go all the way below the frost line. There's whole formulas with insulation and stuff. I doubt, given the manager approach, that was done, but it also stayed in place.
Tom, as you look at the project, do you see a reasonable manner in which construction can be done while mitigating as much as possible any kind of damage in the overlay or the production of silt and stuff that we get into the stream?
Well, the use of a properly installed silt fence, I think, would be, I would say that's a requirement, but that would prevent silt from getting in. You familiar with silt fences? You dig a little.
It's state regulations on any construction now, isn't it?
Well,
Because any construction now, you have that silt fence.
It's DEC and they don't enforce everything, so I end up enforcing a lot of it. But yeah, there's a whole protocol to digging the trench around and backfilling the fence on the construction side, so if there is runoff, it stops at that point. You can't go beyond.
That's like that, it looks like black mat.
Yeah, it's like
They're
some-
doing it up with the,
Well, at the daycare on 96,
Yes.
there's quite a bit of it now.
Oh, that was being built in 96?
Yeah.
Daycare?
Smart Start?
Okay.
That's what's there.
very storage is going there.
We need more storage and be able to put their junk in.
I have a question for you. So when you, I don't know anything about pools. You have to drain it in the fall or something?
You take it down about 2 or 3
And
feet.
so where will the water go? Where will the chlorinated water go?
On this side of my house, this way. But where the shed is where everything will be, and then to empty it, it would just come out there and go like that into my.
So basically, all the way to the end of the creek.
No,
That's what I'm trying to see. If it
Yeah, you could run into a lot of trouble with discharge.
So you just
So,
start.
here's the shed, and
Right.
out of the back of the shed and go here.
But ultimately, that ends up back in the creek, wouldn't it?
No, because almost everything is slanted like this way.
Toward the road.
And it's not that much, I mean, it's like 3 feet, and do I have the depth and stuff in the pool?
No,
It's, the deep end is 6, but they don't put it completely at 6 because they have to allow for the concrete. And then the shallow end is like,
You're saying you'll drain off like 2 feet of water, that much in the pool? For the winter?
you know, actually, I don't even know if you have.
I don't know, my pool, we never drained anything, you just cover it.
That's, I
All the
had
pools I
it.
ever, you know, you might drain it enough so it's not flowing through just your backfill, but you're not talking, and you're not pumping it out in such a way that if you have a decent yard, it's going to absorb into the yard, you're not gonna, because you're not gonna flood out and wash out your lawn, people don't do that.
No, I just, what Scott, I think, is worried about is that.
Oh, yeah, the
water,
water
you know,
for a reason, and because
Right.
the chemicals and for this, disturbing the soil, and that's why we have,
Yeah.
that's why it's there.
Right.
And I assume that's a state law or something, that's why, it's not arbitrary.
Yeah.
And the other thing, question is for Tom, so that if it's, if we do something in overlay zone, you don't need site plan review, like we did over here with Bill's Law, we talked about that. You could,
a site like Bill's Paw that's steep, yes. This one that's relatively flat, you're not required to.
got it.
I fortunately have a resource now over at the town, John Zepko, their planner, who's really, really good at the water issues. It was one of his specialties. So we went over the project quite a bit, actually. He reassured me that it was solely a zoning issue in this circumstance.
And honestly, I had a big rock pool, it was vinyl liner. So it maybe, I don't know, if you're,
We had a soft ground, and we didn't drain off our pool at all. So, I
with
wasn't
the
familiar.
vinyl one, we just took it down 2 feet, I think,
Yeah.
because of snow and rain and stuff, so it doesn't,
Didn't overflow, and
yeah.
you want to get it below where it's flowing in and out of your intakes and stuff, you kind of
Right,
just get
right.
a little of that.
Hopefully I won't have to rain it.
Other questions you have?
I just want to be clear on this, because the restrictions are, the prohibited activities in this area are pretty, storage and placement of hazardous materials, I assume chlorine is hazardous. And then mining with soil, well, which is something we're dredging. All this, there's a lot of things in here that we would be basically saying, there's all these prohibited activities, we're basically saying we're doing so you can do that. It's 50 feet, so.
I'm not sure chlorine is considered hazardous material. We put it in our pools so people can swim in the pools.
Well, in the concentration, I think that's where.
But the concentration within a pool is safe because we have people swim in pools.
Well,
Now, if you dump your chlorine tablets, concentrated tablets, because the idea, I've run a pool, the idea is you have a certain amount of chlorine within the amount of gallons of your pool, and you don't overcharge it, because then the kid's hair turns different colors. But,
I think Scott's point was around the storage.
The shed is in that area.
Right.
Yeah, the shed's, and it's pre-existing, but the use of it wasn't storing chlorine tablets, I'm assuming.
I mean, I can keep those in my garage or.
So, but it sounds like there's some sort of automatic feeder with it?
No, not a heater.
no, feeder.
Feeder.
For the chlorine.
And people think I'm crazy because like I said, I run it 24/7 for the whole season. And you fill a chamber like this, and then it's like from 1 to 10, the amount of chlorine, and I keep it on like 3 or 4, and just run it all the time.
So there's some version of a hopper associated with it that you put chlorine tablets in that it feeds from?
Yeah, it'll go, through the skimmer and then it goes through that, so it's constantly giving a little bit of chlorine. It's very low, because I don't like high chlorine.
So I think to address Scott's issue, fill a hopper, but you probably buy more than a hopper's worth of tablets.
I usually buy like a jug of them.
Okay,
I think there's like 50 pucks in it.
uh-huh,
You know, they're like 3-inch pucks.
okay. And so if you kept those in the garage of the house, for instance, and just put what was needed in the chlorinator, that's probably the term,
Yeah,
that would keep you away from the definition of storage of hazardous materials
Yes.
in that shed. It's
yeah, that's no problem.
buffer overlay.
Yeah, I'll probably keep quite a bit of the cool stuff in there.
That makes sense?
What else did you see was the other issue?
No, I mean, I'm just reading that the prohibited activities are fairly straightforward. And she needs a variance to do a number of these things, and there is a pretty straightforward alternative to moving the pool to another location. Maybe that's not the desired location, but that is an alternative. It's possible.
I mean, I could go a tiny bit this way towards the creek and down that way a little more if it's not gonna work like that.
Looks like you have a little bit of play between where the pool would go and the shed, but then there's that limit that you would get to. You move too far from the shed.
Yeah, because the house is like here and then the shed is kind of here.
Yeah.
But that end of the pool towards the house is like an L. The end of the pool towards the house that way is 7 feet where to go. The other side is the 3 foot.
What section are you referring to, Scott? What's
I'm on page 24, section 604.3.
The following activities are explicitly prohibited. Okay, storage or placement of hazardous materials, purposeful introduction of invasive vegetative species that reduce. You're not planting, it's all lawn, right? That's right now there, presently
Yeah.
lawn.
Yeah.
You're not planting any other gardening or anything as part of the installation of this pool?
No, it's already gardens in the gardens in there.
Okay.
I at some point would like to put just very low, something like decking over the grass.
Well, I'm talking, but no other plantings that
No.
might eventually be considered an invasive species. Okay. Waste storage, placement, or disposal, including but not limited to disposal and dumping of snow, ice, recyclable materials, manure, hazardous or noxious chemicals, inoperative automobiles, or appliance structures and other abandoned materials. The issue of draining water off.
Yeah.
And making that, I think that would be something that our code enforcement officer would need to look at to see, as you're putting this in, where is this outlet, where it would be pumped out to, and is it going in the least egregious manner, the slope of that side yard and all of those kind of things. You know, not saying it would have to be a permanent like piping system that goes out in the yard, but something that, okay, so when you do it, here's what you're putting in, and this is the direction it's going, and you're not dumping it on your neighbor or into the stream. Mining or removal of soil, sand, gravel, and quarrying for raw materials. Well, there is the issue of the actual construction.
Or removing soil, because you can put it in soil, put it in the pool, so.
I guess I don't understand the process exactly. So they dig the hole, and then they fill the hole?
Yes, they dig it with the extra 3 feet around the
Yes.
skirt.
Yeah.
They put it in and then they fill it.
They put what in?
Dirt back in there.
And what's the point of that?
Because it just reinforces the,
Well, you
The
can't,
sidewalls?
you
Yeah.
can't dig the hole the exact dimension of the
Right.
pool and plop it in there. So they dig it out more wider and then replace that. And it's, I'm assuming from the descriptions I've heard, it's, they're not bringing in special soil to backfill it, they're using what's on site.
yes, they use what I have.
And Scott, when I read that 604.3 6.3, I see mining or removal of soil, like that is the operation they're
It's like
specifically
being quarry.
looking to get,
Not just
topsoil,
taking out the soil.
sand and gravel.
Yeah. They're looking to develop a mining
Right.
removal operation within a stream setback, so it's kind of an ongoing thing, as opposed to, this is a 6-week thing to get to where. Yeah, the question is, what happens during the construction, and then what is the result of it? Now you have this pool in place, are you gonna put in invasive species that ruin it, or are you gonna have more movement of materials? And we're far enough away, you're not looking to, part E, to impact the bank at all. It won't be digging or disturbing or changing the embankment, right?
No,
We're staying far enough away from that, because that could affect, and not knowing what you'll do if you change the banking. Herbicide, pesticides, fertilizer, or chemicals, again, you're not doing any of the plantings.
not that.
Is there restriction on fertilizer and stuff related to lawns in the setbacks?
Probably, it says it right there. So people.
I don't use any pesticides.
I'm just saying, for people else in that area, that be fertilizing lawns, it could be violation period.
Again, if we're doing a large scale thing where they're putting in a lawn and they're gonna run a bunch of stuff, parking motorized vehicles except as permitted, and no parking vehicles back there. Other questions, other comments? Do you want to walk through the 5 rules and see what comes up as we walk through? Will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood, or detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the variance? It's not going to affect the neighborhood. Can the benefits sought by the applicant be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance?
We're gonna have to hear it no matter what.
Well, not related to side yard,
Not to this one,
not related to side yard, yes, related to maybe street buffer,
to the street buffer for sure.
but not to side yard variance. So it's a yes and a no. Yes, it could be done to mitigate the overlay setback, but no, it cannot be done to avoid the side yard placement. Is the requested area variance substantial? 50 feet, it's 27, so it's almost 50%. So it's rather substantial, what we're talking about. Will the proposed variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district?
Maybe.
Well, they're going to have to be mitigated by, what did you call that? The black thing?
So the sulfurs.
By the proper use of a silt fence during construction.
Correct.
By the, which would mitigate how they're doing the construction. They're not dumping stuff over the other side of that silt fence. I mean, they're doing it properly. And then the issue of storage of chemicals, the bulk storage of chemicals in the garage.
Within the buffer zone.
Yeah, outside of the buffer zone.
Or outside the buffer.
Outside of the,
Chlorine inside the buffer.
yeah.
It's a toxic chemical, so.
And then the discharge of liquid. The discharge of liquid would need to be,
And I'm not even sure if I have to do that for this.
An improved plan. I have a note here to speak with the folks from Canada, just ask them, what's your plan? Is this pool set up to remain full all winter? Does it get drawn down? If it gets drawn down, how many gallons are coming out and how is that discharged and where? So we could say, as per code officer approval, something like that.
yeah, I think, Well, let's do the last one is the alleged difficulty self-created. Yes.
You don't have to have a pool.
The question becomes is, I think we need to have Tom pursue a couple of these issues, particularly about the discharge of water that would, and where that would go, and what would be the nature of that, and, you know, because again, the amount of gallons that are going to be discharged and at what rate. Because the rate of discharge is going to make a difference into location and where it could go, and the fact of whether it's going to run 60, 80 feet uphill and over. Yeah, you dump enough water, it'll go a lot of places.
So Tom, have you seen this with other pools, this drainage and getting X number of gallons off them?
All
Is
the,
that like a common thing?
all the in-ground pools I've seen, they put that cover on it for the winter, and it floats right above or below the overflow gutters. Maybe that's the right word, I'm not sure. But I also know I don't know a whole lot about pools, so that's why I'm saying I should speak with the Canon folks to see what kind of installation they're talking about in the maintenance.
With my above-ground pool, we never drained any water. And the outlet flow had a valve in it, so when water floated in there because the pump wasn't running it through, it just could like bubble out the top. So, you know, if a little water gets a little higher because it rains, it just bubbles out over the top, over the side of the pool.
Yeah.
It's just kind of self-leveling.
I don't have any experience with pools, but I can see where, I mean, if it's a substantial amount that's being pumped out, then that's bad, but if it's not that much, and it's relative stuff, so I, defer to you.
But I think it's a real concern if it's a substantial amount of treated water. I mean, the chlorine's there to keep stuff from growing, and in the creek stuff grows.
Right.
And, most likely, if it does require that sort of drawdown, there can be a, you can have a 4-inch pump or pipe, or you can have a 2-inch pipe, and the volume of water that goes through can be controlled. So that isn't, dumping a whole bunch of water that goes up and then runs back down or what have you, ends up in the creek.
Just use a 15-gallon per minute sump pump for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Well, the pump actually does it itself. There are
Circulation pump,
Mine was just, the pump's here and it connected here, and I just put it on Elm Street. I just, put it in the side part of my lawn right there.
Yeah.
I thought it would kill stuff, but it didn't. Thought it would because of chlorine.
Well, yeah, the chlorines are pretty low dose in the pool.
Yeah.
You don't want your kids' hair turning blue and burning their
Eyes,
eyes.
yeah, and skin.
Yeah.
If we place conditions on this related to Tom's role as code enforcement officer, do we want to put some things in writing related to this? If we want to grant a variance for the setback into the overlay district and the side yard, are there particular conditions we'd like to put into the written record that gives Tom guidance and would send it back to us if what he finds is not feasible? What he finds from the pool guys is, we can't put the pool where you think you can. We've got to move it and now it changes it, and it really then needs to come back to us. But if we have conditions we can place that then Tom can say, yes, we've met those conditions, then they can move ahead. But if they then can't move ahead, then it could come back and we could revise. So do you know what those conditions you would like? Whether we give the variance or not, what conditions would we like if we're going to go that direction?
Well, obviously just the silt mitigation, which again, I think that's part of state regs as far as doing any kind of construction.
Right.
And I'm sure these, you said it was Royal Pool?
Yeah.
Royal.
Oh, Royals.
You said, you said Canada, I thought you said Royal, so I'm sure.
There is a place.
And, I'm sure they put in hundreds of pools a year. They know exactly what the state requires, because otherwise they're gonna get themselves fined.
Right, okay.
The license pull.
But they might come back with location being a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
They might come back that this is going to be too close to the other primary structure, that they don't want to be liable, that they're going to cause disturbance of the soil that might affect the garage and the house. So that might change the location.
The way I look at it with the pool is, I mean, if the 27 feet to the edge of the embankment is a minimum, you could actually, if they tilt that pool clockwise, say 10 degrees, 5 degrees, it actually kick that part of the pool way further away from the embankment, according to the map here. So if we give them like a minimum of 27 feet, and they need to move it and get more
They
feet
can
away.
figure out how to do that.
Right.
So that's the construction part of it. What about the discharge part of it? Do you want to leave that to put in there that in approving of the building plan and in consultation with Royal Pools, we have an understanding of the amount of discharge that could possibly be done on an annual basis?
We don't really know what an acceptable amount is.
Right.
We know that too much is bad.
They can't go right into the stream, you know that.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the other thing you can do in a pool situation like that is not draw it down till you've let the chlorine work its way out and there's very little chlorine in the water.
Right.
If you don't chlorinate it your last 3 weeks of the season, or you don't draw it down for 2 months after the season ends, then
Chlorine's dead.
chlorine's dead and they're not,
Yeah.
or you're not
Just in case,
discharging.
obviously, empty it and cover it in late October, November.
You know, so that becomes maybe less of an issue than, on how you regulate that. The only thing we can regulate through a variance is some of the construction details. Meaning, if you're going to dump it out, here's where you need to be putting, particularly if you're putting in some permanent discharge piping. Then Tom can say, yeah, that's where I want you to put it. That's the size pipe I want you to put in. And
Yeah, if you put discharge pipe, it may be better off just, if you just move the pool, find a better spot for the pool, and you wouldn't have to worry about all this stuff.
Well,
It'd be
Well,
more
you
expensive.
can't, the pump has to be within 20 feet of the pool.
No, you might have to move the shed someplace too. I mean, you might have to do something else too.
I mean, yeah.
if anyone wants to make a motion, so we can go one way or another.
I will make a motion to accept the variance as presented with the stipulations that all state regs on construction are followed to the letter of the law, and that the minimum distance of the skirting of the pool is it 27 feet from the skirting?
Yeah, that's the number.
Okay, a minimum of 27 feet from the stream embankment, and also to allow construction in the side yard.
So we have a motion that we accept, we allow the variance of a 27-foot minimum setback from the overlay district. We allow it to be placed in the side yard, and we are noting that they will follow all of the state regulations with regard to construction protocols.
You're actually in the overlay district. You said 27 feet from the overlay district, I'm sorry.
Well, no, we're 27 feet back from the edge, well, from the edge of the embankment.
We just said the overlay district.
Edge of the embankment. So we have 3 components within that, the 27 feet, the side yard, and follow the protocols for construction that mitigates any kind of runoff into the stream during construction phase.
So that requires the silt fence?
Yeah.
The silt fence would be required, whatever happens here.
Oh, we didn't talk about discharge in there too. How should we handle the discharge?
My suggestion was make the approval conditional on me speaking with the Royal Pool company about what their protocol is for this, and will that fit in the side yard?
Okay.
You know, it certainly would be a moot point. If no, we recommend just leaving it full. You have the neighbors that are fairly close by, so we want to make sure not to be dumping pool water on their property if it was.
If we have one soggy and such,
What's that?
making the one soggy.
Yes.
So you're willing to make that
I'll
conditional,
make that conditional, whatever Tom said.
conditional upon a understanding with Royal Pools as to the nature of any annual discharge required, any required annual discharge.
I just want to ask if we find that the discharge is too much, Tom finds that, or a significant amount, are there options to continue to pipe it other places, or?
Well, there could be, for instance, you familiar with the French drain?
Yeah.
Basically a hole, gravel lined hole in the ground that you can run stuff into that helps dissipate water more slowly than just dumping it on the surface and stuff. Obviously, that's more disruption, more cost, but
I mean, I can also direct it to the pipe for the emptying
Discharge.
the water out for the discharge. Like I just had got PC piping and just put it into there and directed it, you know, or whatever, you know, I could have it just come out and go like right into the front.
I think in making this conditional, what we're asking is that Tom will do the research, and if he's not satisfied that he's meeting code, he's not going to issue the building permit, and he's gonna come back to us. Or he's gonna go to our applicant here and say, you need to come back with a different proposal because I can't sign off on this part of the down building permit. Because that's how we got here to start with, you can have a building permit.
and I think in the commission, an acceptable plan would be the verbiage.
Yeah. Okay, so condition of an acceptable plan. So that mitigates the whole thing of the discharge, you're putting that in there?
Yes.
The idea of an acceptable plan. So,
I'll second Neil's motion then.
and you'll restate it for us, right? So in the motion is, we're gonna allow, the pool can be put within 27 feet of the bank,
25 feet from the embankment to the skirt.
to the skirt of the pool, can be in the side yard, and it's conditional upon an approved plan through our code enforcement officer, particularly with relationship to discharge,
Discharge and silt management.
silt management. And we have a second from Scott. More comment, discussion, questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed the same? Motion carries. So you're approved conditionally. Have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed the same? Motion carried.